Hello guys and welcome back to another class of our course about the complete introduction to VBA with Excel. So in today's class we are going to have a basic introduction to macros and what exactly are macros, how all this works, and basically everything that is around macros. And what we are going to do is that we are going to record our first macros. So how exactly I want to do this? Pretty simple. So we are going to record a basic macro, and then we're going to do, well, make it a bit more complicated. So I'll try to make it in three different examples, and basically you'll see how exactly macro works. All right. So basically, what exactly is a macro? So let's say, for example, that you do the same task day after day after day after day. So instead of doing a certain task, you can automate this task directly with the Excel. So basically, we're not going to write any line of code because basically the macro feature will simply convert our task into code. So the only thing that we need to do is simply record a certain task that we want to do on a daily basis. So pretty simple. What I would like to suggest you to do as an example is pretty simple. So what we will do at first is we are going to create a small report. So let's say, for example, you guys are working for a business, and this business asks you, well, sends you a list of, let's say, names, number, and numbers. So name, age, and number. And basically what you want to do is simply put all this together. So you receive, let's say, 10 names per day. And basically that's pretty simple. You need to work with those 10 names and just do something with it. So what exactly we are going to start with? So we are going to start by giving a name to our report. So here we are going to give it a name. So pretty simple. We'll go to home, we'll merge the cells. So here we'll have our name. So we'll name it, let's just name it name. So here we'll have our name. Here we'll have the name of our employees. Here we'll have their age, and here we'll have their number. Once again, it's just for the purpose of the example. It's all pretty simple. So basically, then what we want to do, we said we need 10 steps. So from here, from 5 to 15. So basically, we are going to receive 10 names per day. So here we'll have our sum. And basically, we are going to sum all the ages and all the numbers. So pretty simple. All right, so this is the first thing that we want to do is simply to integrate the name. So basically what I want to do right now is give a name to my report. Let's say it's gonna be a report, and I want to have my report looking something like this. So pretty simple. I want, my first macro, what I will do, I will simply record how I'm writing report right here, and I want my macro to be right there. So pretty simple, we'll start with the beginning. So we are going to unmerge cells. We're going to go into the developer tab. So from here, what we are going to do, we are going to record ourselves doing this. So first thing that you guys want to do is simply go on the developer tab, and right here you will be able to record your macros. So we are going to record our macro, and we are going to name it, in this case, let's call it name of report, or simply step 1, because that's the step 1. Step 1. Then what we want to do is maybe if you guys want to give it a short key. So basically the second that you guys are going to write down a certain key, it's going to appear. So let's say, for example, I wanna have my each time that I type control, let's say O, I will have my, this macro that will automatically run, but I don't want to use short keys. Then finally, where exactly you want to store it. So if you store it in this workbook, you will only be able to use it on this workbook. If you store it on your personal macro workbook, well, you will be able to use it on all Excel files. So we are going to keep it on this workbook, pretty simple. All right, so we named our macro step 1. So we're just gonna click on running it. Next thing that we are going to do, we are going to go here. So we are going to click 2 times, it's really important, and simply select all those, all those things right here. So all the cells right here. Then we'll come back to home and we do what we want to do. So basically we are going to merge the cells, and we are going to give a name to our report. So in this case, let's call it, I don't know. So let's call it numbers and names. Good. So we have a name to our report. Now we want to put it inside of a table. So this is exactly what we're going to do. So here we go. We have our report that is numbers and names. Then last thing, really important, saving our macros, stopping the recording part. So right now we stop the recording part. All right, so basically what we have just did right now is pretty simple. We have created a macro. So we are going to rerun this macro on this page right here. So pretty simple. We're just going to go in on our macros and run the macro step 1. So here we go. If we run it, here we have our macro that is numbers and names. So pretty simple. Simply by clicking on our macro, it automatically appeared right here. So pretty simple. I don't need all this. I'll just delete it. So as you can see, pretty simple and pretty cool as well. All right, next thing that I said that we want to do is pretty simple. We want to continue the creation of our report. So basically what's going to happen is that we are going to receive names, ages, and numbers. And I'm going to use random numbers to do it, so don't worry about it. So what we want to do right now is we want to create, well, we want to put name on this cell, age on this cell, and number in this cell right here. Add the sum, put all this inside of a table, and calculate the sum of all ages. So what will be the format of what we are going to receive on a daily basis? It will look something like this. So we are going to receive A, B, C, D, H. Here we go. And for the ages and the numbers, we're going to use random numbers. So basically it's a function. So random between, let's say we want to receive a number that is between 18 and, I don't know, 50. All right, same thing for numbers. And we simply put everything together. All right, pretty cool. So right now we have our numbers and ages. So basically what we receive on a daily basis will be on this format. So we have absolutely nothing, and we are going to create the numbers, the name, age, numbers, and then the sum of the calculation. So pretty cool. All right, next thing that we want to do is pretty simple. It's just calculating the sum of all this. So basically we're calculating the sum of all this. So we are going to add all this inside of our macro. So pretty simple. So right now let's simply do it. So how exactly we are going to do this? Pretty simple. We are going to record another macro. So once again, we are going to give it a name. So let's call it step 2. And right now, what will be exactly in the step 2? So in the step 2, first thing that we are going to do, we are going to select this tab right here and call it name. Here we go. So we have name here. Then we are going to add this. Then same thing for the tab age. And what we are going to do, we adding this as well. And finally, the last tab, that is the number tab. We'll do the exact same thing. We'll write down numbers. And we'll do this the exact same way. Then what we want to do is simply go down here and do the same thing for sum. So basically, we are going to write down sum. So really important, click a few times just to be sure that it automatically selects the cell. And finally, the last thing that we want to do is simply calculate the sum of all the ages and all the numbers. So basically, this is exactly what we are going to do. So we are going to write down the sum function and calculate all the ages as well as the sum of all numbers. So here we go. As you can see, it's pretty simple. What we want to do right now is pretty simple. Just select the cell. Here we go. And finally, the last thing that we want to do is simply take all this and put it inside of a table like this. So what we'll do at the end, we'll just go in our macro and we'll stop recording. So if we go inside of our sheet number 2, what's going to happen is that we are going to run our macro. So here we have our step 2. We run it. And as you can see, we have automatically a table that have been generated. So right now we have recorded 2 macros. Now the only thing that is left is simply receiving all the names and all the ages. All right. Finally, the last thing that I want to do is create another table that is, that will look pretty much the same thing. And inside of this table, I will have my names and my numbers as well. Well, my names and the sum of my age and my numbers. So pretty simple. I'll do it next to this table right here. So I'll have my names right there. And here I will have the sum of those things. So I'll do it, I'll record the macro automatically. So pretty simple. I'll go here and I will just record the macro. So I'll click on record macro and I will do it. So here we have our step 3. So pretty simple. This is exactly what we're going to do. So here we want our name. So will be equal to name. And in this table, it's gonna be equal to num. There we go. So we'll just write down num here. All right. Then the name is pretty simple. So our name will be equal to the letter that we have right here. So we have A, B, C until the last name right here. And finally here inside of this table right here, we'll have our sum. So basically simply equal to this right there. All right. Next thing that we want to do is calculate the sum of those two numbers. So pretty simple. We'll just click on our cell and calculate the sum of those two numbers. So basically this one plus this one right here. And what I want to do next is pretty simple. Just put everything together. And finally, last thing that we want to do is calculate the sum of all those numbers. So once again, right here, what I'm trying to do is just teaching you how the macros work by doing multiple operations. Then next thing that we want to do is pretty simple. Just add the sum tables. As you can see, pretty simple. It's for the aesthetic. And we put everything like this. So everything is beautiful right now. So we have everything that we need. So what we want to do right now is simply go back here and stop recording. So right now we'll go on our sheet number 2. And what we're going to do, pretty simple, we're just going to run our macro. So we'll go here and we want to run our macro number 3. So we have everything that we need. So right now, each time that we receive our names, and each time that we receive our names, ages, and everything, we will be able to simply run our macro. So if we copy all the names, ages, and stuff, and we paste it right here, everything works fine. So basically, we have achieved everything that we wanted to achieve simply with the use of macros. So if we try it all again, so we'll delete absolutely everything. Here we go. We'll take once again our numbers. So let's say the day begins and we receive our numbers right here. So we just received this. And what we want to do right now is pretty simple. Is just running our macros. So we'll go inside of our macros that are right here. We'll go with step 1. We'll run it. So here we have numbers and names. Here we go. Next thing, we want to run the step number 2. We have the name, age, and numbers. So everything have been calculated. And finally, the last step, which is the step number 3. So inside of our macros, if we run the step number 3, as you can see, we have our table right here. So as you can see, it's pretty simple to understand. And basically, you can automate any tasks that you want simply with the use of macros, which in my opinion is really amazing. So right now, guys, you know how to create your own macros and automate your own tasks without even coding in VBA. So pretty simple. So that's it for this class, guys, and see you all in our next class.